What happens when a self-made CEO goes undercover in his own kitchen only to be told to serve food from the trash? Brayden Bell wiped his hands on his apron as the lunch rush hit. The heat from the fryers, the clatter of pans, and the sharp voices of cooks shouting orders made the kitchen feel tighter than it was. He didn't flinch. He'd built this fast casual food chain from a single food truck 10 years ago. Now, there were 13 locations scattered across 3 states. But lately, something had been off. Sales were steady, but customer reviews for one of the stores, Store 7 in North Lincoln, had taken a nosedive. Brayden had read the reports: cold food, wrong orders, rude staff. Still, none of it made sense. This location had once been one of their best. He didn't want another filtered report from the district manager. He needed the truth. So he called in a favor from a friend in casting and got a new look: graying hair buzzed short, thick-rimmed glasses, a bit of stubble, and a fake gap tooth. His name for the week: Dave, a middle-aged line cook trainee trying to restart his life. Store 7's kitchen manager, a man named Chad, didn't recognize him. Brayden had never met him in person. He'd been hired by the district manager, and corporate never sent Brayden's photo to the stores. That was by design. He liked being the invisible hand until now. "You're Dave, right? Cool. You'll be on grill today. Just copy whatever Tyler does." Chad grunted, only half looking at him before turning his attention back to the ticket screen. "Move fast. Don't ask stupid questions." Brayden nodded, playing dumb. He joined Tyler, a young cook with tattoos up both arms and tired eyes. Tyler didn't say much at first, just showed him where things were and how to keep up with the orders. By noon, the chaos had peaked. Orders flew in, burgers sizzled, fries piled up. Tyler worked fast, never complaining. Brayden noticed the guy didn't even take his break, just kept moving, flipping patties, boxing meals. "Why aren't you grabbing lunch?" Brayden asked during a lull. "Can't. We're down 2 today. Someone called in, someone else quit last week. If I stop, everything backs up," Tyler said, not looking up. Brayden frowned. "They don't bring in someone else?" Tyler shrugged. "Chad said we're already over payroll, so no." Brayden kept quiet, but something twisted in his gut. No backup, no breaks. That wasn't how he built this place. He prided himself on treating his people right. Something was broken here. Mid-afternoon, he caught a moment with a cashier named Ruby. She was maybe 20, nose ring, sharp voice, but kind to every customer. Brayden saw her offer a cup of water to a crying toddler and help an old man with the touchscreen ordering kiosk. "You like working here?" Brayden asked during a short break. Ruby laughed, dry. "Depends who's on shift. When Chad's here, it's rough. He yells, cuts shifts if you talk back. But I need the hours." Brayden leaned in. "What about the food complaints?" Ruby looked around, lowered her voice. "Sometimes orders sit too long. Chad doesn't care. He tells us to reheat stuff if it's returned. I've even seen him pull stuff out of the trash if it looks okay. Swear to God." Brayden's stomach turned. "Out of the trash?" "Yeah, or like stuff that's been sitting for hours. He tells the cooks to just re-toast it or add new sauce. He says, customers don't know the difference. Tyler hates it." Before Brayden could ask more, Chad barked from the back. "Dave, you done chatting or are we running a daycare?" Brayden headed back, jaw tight. That night, after close, Brayden helped Tyler wipe down the grill. The kid looked exhausted. "You okay?" Brayden asked. Tyler nodded slowly. "Yeah, just tired of cutting corners." "Today Chad asked me to reuse a burger a customer sent back. I said no. He tossed it back on the grill himself and told me to watch and learn." Brayden stared at him. "You serious?" "Dead serious. That's not how we should be doing things. But if you speak up too much, he cuts your hours." Brayden didn't respond. He just kept scrubbing, his mind racing. He'd poured everything into this company, and now someone was poisoning it from the inside. Tomorrow, he'd come back, and if what Tyler said happened again, he'd be ready. The next morning, Brayden arrived 15 minutes early in his Dave uniform, unshaven and bleary-eyed like the rest of the crew stumbling in. The sun hadn't fully risen, but the kitchen lights were already blazing. The smell of fryer oil lingered in the air like it had soaked into the walls. Tyler was already prepping the line, sleeves rolled up, headphones in one ear. He gave Brayden a nod without slowing his hands. A new face stood near the prep sink, young, maybe 19, with anxious eyes and a nervous grip on a plastic container of chopped onions. "That's Kevin," Tyler said. "First week. He's on prep now, but Chad's been riding him since day one." Brayden walked over and offered a hand. "I'm Dave. Grill guy." Kevin shook it, then went back to his chopping. "I didn't know we had a grill guy. Thought we were short." "We are," Tyler muttered behind him. "We're always short." Chad came in 5 minutes late, coffee in hand, phone in the other. No greetings. He walked straight to the expo station, skimmed the schedule, then tossed it onto the counter. "Kevin, you're on register today. Don't screw it up. Ruby's out. She texted me 1 minute before her shift. Unbelievable." Kevin looked up, confused. "I've only done register once." "Figure it out," Chad snapped. Then he turned toward Brayden. "Dave, you're on prep until lunch. Tyler'll handle grill solo, again." Brayden opened his mouth, but Tyler gave a quick shake of his head. Not worth pushing. He moved to the prep area, as told, but kept glancing over his shoulder. Tyler was already sweating, flipping patties and toasting buns with robotic precision. Kevin fumbled with the touchscreen at the front, apologizing to a woman trying to customize her order. By 11:30, the line was out the door. Brayden was thrown onto the line without warning. Tyler had run out of clean trays, and Chad was nowhere to be seen. Customers grew impatient. Orders piled up on the screen. Then, a burger came back. "Cold fries in the wrong sauce," Kevin said, dropping the bag on the counter. Chad reappeared like a ghost and grabbed the bag. He pulled out the burger, checked it, then set it on the counter. "It's fine," he said. "Tyler, just microwave the damn thing and re-wrap it." Tyler hesitated. "We don't microwave burgers." Chad's jaw tightened. "I said wrap it again, and add fresh fries. That'll shut them up." Brayden stepped in. "Shouldn't we remake it?" Chad's eyes narrowed. "Do you run this place? No? Then shut up and follow instructions." Tyler didn't move. His jaw clenched, but he didn't say anything. Chad picked up the burger himself and shoved it into the microwave under the counter. "Done. Next." The next hour was a blur. Missing items, rushed orders, Chad disappearing into the office for long stretches, and Kevin blinking back tears after a woman berated him for charging her twice. During a brief lull, Brayden caught Tyler filling sauce cups with hands that visibly shook. "You okay?" he asked, keeping his voice low. Tyler didn't look up. "I hate this. Every shift is a war zone. Chad doesn't care. He's just trying to make numbers." Brayden nodded slowly. "You ever think about quitting?" "I have, but my mom just lost her job. I'm paying rent for both of us." A delivery truck pulled up out back, and Chad finally emerged from the office. "Dave, go help unload, and be quick." Brayden followed the driver to the back alley. The man handed over a clipboard. "You the manager?" he asked. Brayden shook his head. "Just kitchen crew." The guy snorted. "Could have fooled me. You're the only one who ever helps unload. Last week I waited 20 minutes while some guy yelled on the phone inside." Brayden signed and started moving boxes. The alley reeked of old grease and wet cardboard. Halfway through, something caught his eye near the back door. A gray trash bin sat cracked open. Sitting on top, wrapped in clear film, was a tray of chicken tenders, still visibly whole. He checked the label. Cooked yesterday. Time stamped. Expired. He stepped inside with the tray. "Chad," he said, holding it up. "Why's this in the trash?" Chad glanced over, then turned back to his phone. "It's not trash. It's overflow. Just heat it later if we run low." Brayden stared at him. "It's expired." Chad shrugged. "Still good. Tell me you've never eaten a day-old chicken tender." Brayden didn't respond. He turned to Tyler, who looked like he'd seen this before. Later that afternoon, a teenage boy came in with his dad. The kid had a cast on his arm and a shirt with the name of a local baseball team. Kevin took their order, visibly trying to stay upbeat. 2 kids' meals, 1 large combo, and a milkshake. Brayden was packing the order when Chad walked by and stopped. "Whoa, whoa, whoa. No milkshakes. Machine's down." Kevin looked up. "It was working earlier?" Chad shook his head. "I turned it off. Cleaning cycle. Takes forever to get it back on." The boy's dad approached the counter. My son was looking forward to that milkshake. Can't you just turn it on? Chad turned to Kevin. Refund him. Brayden stepped forward. Why not just make the milkshake? It's a 30-second job. Chad's voice got sharper. Because I said no. You want to buy this place and run it yourself. Be my guest. The dad frowned. Is this how you treat customers? Chad didn't respond. He turned and walked back into the office again. Kevin processed the refund while the kid stared at the empty cup on the tray. Brayden leaned in. Give me 5 minutes. He grabbed a bucket, filled it with sanitizing solution, and cleaned the milkshake machine himself. It wasn't even in cleaning mode, just unplugged. He switched it back on. Kevin stared at him. You're going to get chewed out. Let him, Brayden said. He made the shake and brought it out himself, kneeling slightly to meet the boy's eye. Sorry for the wait, buddy. On the house. The kid lit up. His dad gave a quiet nod. By the end of the shift, Kevin was sent home early. Tyler was stuck closing again. Chad never reappeared. Brayden stayed behind, wiping down counters in silence. You don't have to stay, Tyler said. I'm already here. Tyler nodded. You know, when I first started, this place was different. People used to care. We had regulars, we laughed, then it all just changed. Brayden looked him in the eye. What happened? Tyler hesitated. Managers changed, staff turned over, corporate got quieter, like nobody was watching anymore. Brayden's jaw set. He looked around at the empty kitchen, the lingering mess, the flickering light above the prep station. Someone needed to watch again. And tomorrow, that someone would be Brayden Bell, not Dave. The next morning, Brayden didn't clock in with the others. He waited in the parking lot until 10, watching employees shuffle through the side door while customers trickled in. A father pushed a stroller past the windows while 2 teenagers stood outside, looking confused by the touchscreen kiosk. Brayden had seen enough from behind the counter. It was time to face them as himself. He walked through the front doors without the apron, the fake glasses, or the name tag. His posture was different. So was the expression on his face, focused, restrained, and alert. Kevin was at the register again, trying to fix a stuck receipt roll. His hands trembled slightly as he pulled at the paper. He looked up and blinked when he saw Brayden. You're... Brayden nodded. Where's Chad? Kevin pointed toward the back, unsure whether to speak. Brayden didn't wait. He passed the grill, where Tyler was flipping chicken fillets one-handed while cradling a prep tray in the other. Their eyes met briefly. Tyler froze, spatula still in hand. Hang tight, said Brayden quietly. He pushed open the door to the office. Chad was sitting in the only chair, watching a video on his phone with the volume up. A half-eaten breakfast sandwich sat on a napkin beside him. Chad, Brayden said. Chad barely glanced up. Back doors for deliveries. I'm Brayden Bell, he said. Chad looked again, then stood. Wait, what? I own this company, Brayden said. And I've spent the last 3 days working your line under the name Dave. Chad opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Brayden stepped further in, closing the door behind him. You've got 5 minutes to explain why you've been violating food safety, mistreating staff, and ignoring basic operational standards. Chad's face twitched. Okay, hold on. This isn't how it looks. It looks like you've been cutting corners, bullying entry-level employees, and turning customers away for your own convenience, said Brayden. I saw you microwave a returned burger. I watched you tell a cook to reuse expired chicken. I personally cleaned a machine you claimed was broken just to avoid doing your job. Chad's voice rose. I was following cost controls. We're under pressure to hit targets. Corporate's been breathing down our necks for months. Brayden cut him off. You think I don't know what our cost structure looks like? I built it. There is no metric that justifies lying to customers or putting staff in danger. Chad's face flushed. This isn't fair. You walked in here pretending to be someone else. I walked in here because no one at corporate was getting the truth. You made sure of that. Chad stepped back, gesturing toward the door. Look, I've put in more hours than anyone. I've been running this store without support. The district manager... This stopped being about support the moment you pulled food from a trash bin and told someone to serve it. Chad's mouth hung open for a beat. Then he looked down. You're done here, Brayden said. Effective immediately. You will not return to this or any other location. I'm notifying HR, and I'll be speaking directly with our legal team to ensure your termination is documented appropriately." Chad stood frozen, then slowly reached for his phone. Brayden stepped aside and opened the door. "Tyler," he called. Tyler appeared within seconds, confused. "Could you escort Chad to the employee exit and collect his keys?" Tyler looked between them, then nodded. Chad tried to speak again, but Brayden raised a hand. "There's nothing else to say." As Chad left, the air in the kitchen seemed to shift. Kevin stood by the register like he couldn't believe what he'd heard. Tyler returned a minute later, still holding the keys. "Put them in the office," Brayden said. "Then meet me in the dining area. Everyone's going to sit down, you included." 15 minutes later, the dining room was closed temporarily. A handwritten sign went on the door. "Closed for staff meeting, reopens at noon." Inside, employees sat around the tables: Tyler, Kevin, a dishwasher named Louise, the 2 high schoolers who worked evening shifts, and one of the weekend cooks who'd just come in early. Brayden stood in front of them. He didn't pace. He didn't lecture. He just looked each of them in the eye. "I owe all of you an apology," he said. "You've been working under someone who failed to lead, and I let that happen. I was too far removed from day-to-day operations. I trusted reports I shouldn't have. That ends now." No one spoke. Tyler leaned forward slightly, arms resting on his knees. "I came here as an undercover trainee because I was getting conflicting stories. I saw what you've been dealing with. The exhaustion, the pressure, the disrespect. That's not what this company stands for." Luis raised a hand. "What happens now?" "We're bringing in an interim manager from one of the top-performing stores, someone I personally trained. She'll be here within the hour. I'll be staying for the next few days to support the transition. And we're hiring immediately. Not temporary bodies, real, permanent staff. You'll get the breaks you're entitled to, and nobody will be punished for speaking up." Kevin spoke for the first time. "What if we already thought about quitting?" "I wouldn't blame you," Brayden said, "but I hope you'll stay. You're the reason this store hasn't collapsed. You've kept things moving despite everything. That matters." Tyler looked up. "And the food safety stuff? Any employee who's ever told to serve unsafe product has the right to refuse. That's now policy. No gray area. And if anyone above you says otherwise, you come to me." A silence settled over the table, heavy but different from the one the day before. More alert, more grounded. Brayden continued. "I know talk is cheap, so here's what else is happening. Starting next week, this location is getting a 10% base pay raise across all hourly roles. We're adding 2 floater positions to help with high-volume days. And I'm installing an anonymous reporting system that connects directly to my executive team." The cook from weekends crossed her arms. "What about the people who already left? They didn't get any of this." "I've already asked HR to reach out to every employee who left in the last 90 days. Anyone who wants to reapply will be fast-tracked." Tyler exhaled. "That's a lot. It should have happened sooner," Brayden said. "But I'm here now, and I'm not leaving until this place is back on track." The room stayed quiet, but the tension had shifted. It wasn't fear anymore. It was something closer to cautious hope. Brayden looked around one last time. "We reopen in 30 minutes. If anyone needs more time, take it. If you're ready, I'll be on the line with you." He turned and walked back toward the kitchen, grabbing an apron off the hook without breaking stride. Tyler followed a moment later. As they prepped for the next rush, Tyler adjusted the tray layout and glanced over. "So, no more expired chicken?" Brayden raised an eyebrow. "You planning to serve any?" Tyler cracked a grin. "Not unless you microwave it for me." Brayden shook his head, finally letting the corner of his mouth turn up. "I don't microwave anything," he said. "Not anymore." 3 days passed. Brayden stayed. He was on the line from open to close, not as the boss, but as part of the crew. He took orders, boxed meals, wiped down tables, hauled trash, and made sure every piece of equipment was clean to code. The team adjusted slowly, cautiously. Nobody was sure how long the calm would last, but they noticed the shift. It wasn't in the big speeches, it was in the day-to-day. Ruby returned from her sick day and walked into a store that didn't feel like the one she'd left. The new interim manager, Liza, was direct but steady. She spent her first hour asking each employee one question. What's the one thing you need to do your job better? She didn't make promises. She wrote everything down. By Friday, the changes were visible. The fryers were cleaned properly each night. The milkshake machine stayed running. Supply shipments were logged and cross-checked. The old bin where expired food had been stashed was removed entirely. Liza had it hauled out back and replaced with a metal prep table. Tyler stood at that table late Saturday afternoon, assembling family meals for a local youth team that had pre-ordered online. Brayden joined him, gloves on, apron tied, sleeves rolled up. They worked without needing to speak much. The rhythm had returned. "Got a message from my mom this morning," Tyler said while scooping rice into trays. "Said she looked up the company online, saw your name, asked me if I was sure I hadn't done anything to get fired." Brayden added grilled chicken to the next tray. "What did you tell her?" "I told her I accidentally served lunch to the guy who owns the building." Brayden chuckled under his breath. "Not wrong." Tyler sealed the container and reached for the next. "She said to tell you thanks for keeping me on and for the raise." Brayden paused for half a second. "Tell her I said she raised a solid kid." Tyler didn't respond, but his mouth tightened just slightly, like he was biting down on a smile he didn't want to show. Out front, Kevin was training a new hire. The girl was shy but sharp, already learning how to handle custom orders without getting flustered. Kevin walked her through the touchscreen system slowly, with more patience than he'd ever been shown his first week. "I used to get yelled at every time I hit the wrong button," he said, as he showed her how to comp a meal. "Now, if you mess up, just fix it. No one here's going to bite your head off." Ruby leaned over the counter. "Unless you forget to clock out. Then you'll hear from Liza." Kevin laughed. "Yeah, but she won't scream it from the office doorway." When rush hour hit, the team moved with practiced coordination. Liza stepped in to run expo when the orders backed up. Brayden dropped to the prep sink without a word and started cleaning lettuce. No one had to ask. Around 7, a woman in a black blazer walked in alone and took a seat near the window. She didn't order, just watched. Liza noticed and approached her after the line settled. "You waiting on someone?" she asked. The woman handed her a card. "I'm from the county health board. Spot inspection started this week. This location was flagged due to a complaint filed last month." "Of course," Liza said, unfazed. "Would you like to see the kitchen?" The inspector nodded once. Brayden caught the exchange and followed them quietly to the back. Everything held. The prep areas were spotless. Temperatures were logged. Expiration dates were visible and up to date. Gloves were worn. Thermometers were calibrated. The inspector made careful notes, asked pointed questions, and checked 2 random inventory items against the order log. Then she turned to Brayden. "You're the owner?" "Yes." She nodded. "I've seen a lot of fast food kitchens. This isn't one of them. It's clean. The staff knows what they're doing, and no one tried to hide anything." "No reason to," Brayden said plainly. She signed the form and handed it to Liza. "You'll get the full report next week, but I don't see any violations." Whatever was happening before it's not happening now. After she left, Liza said nothing. She just handed the form to Brayden and went right back to the grill. Brayden posted it on the staff bulletin board without fanfare. At closing, the team gathered near the back sink. The store was quiet, the last trash bag tied, the lights dimmed except for the hallway. Liza locked the front door. Brayden stood in the center of the group. "This store has a reputation to rebuild. That won't happen overnight, but today was the first time in 6 weeks we didn't get a single customer refund. Not one." Ruby raised her eyebrows. "You sure?" "Kevin almost forgot to give a guy extra napkins." Kevin held up his hands. "I fixed it, and I comped him a cookie." Brayden smiled faintly. "That's what I'm talking about. You owned it. You fixed it. That's all I ever wanted." Tyler leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "What happens now?" "I'm heading back to corporate tomorrow," Brayden said. "Liza's staying on for the next 3 weeks to stabilize things. After that, she'll help train whoever your permanent GM is. Could be someone from here. Could be someone new." Louise stepped forward. "What if things slip again?" "Then you call me," Brayden said. "Direct line. It's going up on the board next to the inspection report. No more middlemen. If something's wrong, I'll hear it from you. The room fell quiet for a moment, not tense, just reflective. They weren't used to being asked to speak up, but now they had a reason to believe it mattered. Brayden exhaled slowly. I know this has been a lot. I know some of you thought about walking out, but you didn't. You held this place together. You deserve better than what you got from Chad, and I let that go too long. That's on me. No one interrupted. But starting now, this store is the standard, not the exception. Kevin looked around. So we're top tier now? You're on your way, Brayden said. And if you keep holding each other accountable, you'll stay there. He pulled something from his pocket. A small, worn photo of the original food truck, the one he'd started with 10 years ago. He placed it on the bulletin board beside the inspection pass. I built this place because I believed in good food done right. That doesn't mean fast. It means honest. You brought that back this week. He turned and started toward the back exit without another word. At the door, he paused. Last thing, he said, glancing over his shoulder. Nobody reheats burgers. Ever. Tyler gave a quiet laugh. No arguments here. Brayden pushed the door open and stepped into the night. The air was cool. For the first time in weeks, he didn't feel like he was chasing something that had already slipped away. Inside, the crew stayed standing for a moment longer. Then Ruby clapped Kevin on the back and grabbed her bag. You still owe me a soda for that cookie, by the way. Kevin rolled his eyes. Fine, but I'm picking the flavor. Tyler stayed behind a few extra minutes to finish wiping down the prep table. He looked at the photo on the board, then at the door Brayden had just walked through. He didn't say anything. He just kept cleaning,